Check it out, guys. I'm at the Rubicon freaking Rubicon Trail. That's right, guys. It's time to run the Rubicon Trail once again. This is my third time on the Rubicon. You can check out my earlier Rubicon videos. I think it's overall my favorite trail that I've ever done. It's pretty awesome. We got a good little group here today. We got XJ, Forerunner, me of course, and then a couple of Jeep JLs coming down the hill, and then a TJ over there. That's about, I think we've got 6 vehicles. So that's a good sized group for the Rubicon. This is the earliest that I've ever done the Rubicon Trail. And the spring runoff is going strong. Usually when I've come here before, this is just a tiny little quiet stream, but that water is just awesome. And I've also got my son Morgan here with me on this trip. He doesn't come off-road with me very often. There's one other video that he's in. Bonus points if you can identify which one that is. It's from a long time ago. I'll probably be able to get Morgan to do some camera work for me, I think. And yeah, it'll be a good time. All right, we made it to the Gatekeeper. We'll see how it goes. Griffin behind me, he's on 34-inch tires in his Forerunner. So this will be fun. The so-called Gatekeeper on the Loon Lake end of the trail is just a long collection of boulders, indicative of what is to come. Yeah, Griffin just sailed right through the Gatekeeper. Well, part of it. We've got more coming up. And now we've got a Jeep back here who's catching some rocks. He'll make it. No, stay driver. Come on over. Keep coming, you're about to come down. There you go. Put your driver's tire on that rock. Come forward. Now driver, there you go, just like that. Now passenger. There we go. All right, everyone survived the Gatekeeper. I guess that means we're off to a good start. So this is the first big rock climb on the Rubicon, and usually down where I'm at right at this moment, there's big boulders that are pretty hard to climb over, but they've smoothed that out quite a bit with the maintenance they recently did. I'll explain that again in a second when I show you. The guy driving the red 4Runner's name is Griffin, and he actually is the one who invited me on this Rubicon trip. So thanks, Griffin. We made it. They recently did some trail maintenance. I think they smoothed this out a little bit. These boulders at the bottom of this big hill used to be a real pain in the butt to get over. I just hopped out to look at a lizard, and I found some bear tracks. Check that out. There's been a bear through here. And that's how you bend your lower links. I've got 3 bent lower links at this point, and I'll probably be replacing those with aluminum at some point. The 2-inch quarter wall DOM steel just isn't cutting it for the weight of my FJ. So here it is, one of the main attractions on the Rubicon Trail, the Soup Bowl. Nobody in our group was really super familiar with this obstacle, and so I just kind of hit it. However, it looked right, but it wasn't right. I ended up on the wrong line initially. So I got myself reoriented, and I got it figured out eventually. This is Jay in his XJ on 35s. Driver. He wanted to give it a shot.
Okay, back up if you can.
He probably would have made it up if he had a better spotter than me. This is a really sharp turn that a lot of people make into a multi-point turn, but I found with my 42-inch tires, I could roll over a lot of rocks that other people avoid. And my FJ has the turning radius of an aircraft carrier.
It pushes you right off. So it might come up. There you go. Okay. It's a little slippery. This is definitely a tough little section. I remember doing this on 35s. It's a little bit more of a chore. crash.
How's the passenger tire looking?
Bad.
Bad?
Yeah, just back up a little bit and re-hit it. Keep coming.
Of course, the XJ makes this look easy.
Nailed it. Front locker.
Looks good. Rip it.
Front locker. Front locker.
You
like-
serious?
Yes, I'm serious. Now you'll go.
I felt kind of bad. I was yelling at Griffin all day to turn on his front locker, but it came with some consequences later on that you'll see.
There you go. Oh, look, keep coming. Go straight. Straight.
One dope right in the middle of that rock.
The Rubicon has several notable V-notches. This is the one right before Buck Island Lake. My son Morgan, who's holding the camera, is not a spotter, so doing this without a spotter was a little bit nerve-wracking because if you fall off the wall, it can get ugly pretty quick. This is a shelf you have to climb to get into the Buck Island campground area, and when the campground is full of people and people are struggling to get up this shelf, it can be a great source of entertainment. This is a rock face just after the main Buck Island campground area, and I decided to try to climb the steepest part of this, and it turns out that you actually can lose with 42s. And it may have been possible if I'd tried a little bit harder, but at this point, you're in the middle of the Rubicon Trail, and braking would be really disappointing. Just off to the side was a little bit more manageable. All right, so we made it to Buck Island Campground, which is just over that way, and here's the lake, and we decided that we're gonna push on a little bit further because we've still got plenty of daylight, so we'll see how far we get. I know we're not gonna make it to Rubicon Springs, but there's probably a camp spot a little further up the road here. All right, I think we finally settled on a campsite. We're actually just probably, I don't know, a quarter mile from the Buck Island campground. Hey, Morgan. So we're right on the lake. We got a few mosquitoes. We're in amongst the trees. Pretty awesome.
Just probably, I don't know.
So Griffin, tell the people what happened to your roof rack and rooftop tent.
Oh man, so the only thing I can really guess is with as much downward force as we've had going down the Rubicon with a 200-pound tent, it was probably just forcing it to keep pushing forward over and over. So eventually the fair lead was resting on the windshield, which is not a good sign, especially since I have to drive about 2,000 miles back home.
Back to Georgia.
Yeah, so yeah, we're just repairing this right now, and then of course immediately after we realized that this was a problem, I blew my CV. So
yeah, we gotta
do this.
We gotta fix a CV axle after they reattach that.
We gotta do a CV. Luckily, and a huge shout out to CVJ Reman in Denver, they actually made me a whole CV day of.
Nice.
Which I cannot praise them highly enough for that. That was a huge solid to them.
CVJ, yeah.
Definitely, if you need OEM reman, that's who to go to.
Nice. Yeah, so the roof rack's falling off. Got to take off the whole tent to fix the roof rack. Craziness. And then we got a CV axle to fix, so. Good times. Oh, we got a nice fire out here. They're still over there struggling with that CV axle. It's being a real pain in the butt. The CV axle doesn't want to come out of the differential, which is a big problem. Nobody has a CV lasso, but hopefully they get it done tonight so we can get back on the trail tomorrow and not break the other side.
If ever that day comes around, if I get my feet on the ground and make Bonnie my wife, and we'd rob this whole town, maybe take all that money, get a boat and sail down, down where the blue, blue waters flow. Yes, this is a place I would go. We might get ourselves lost, we may never be found, if ever that day comes around.
Well, good morning, guys. Just me and the geese here this morning. Well, and everybody else. It was a good night. Slept pretty well. They're still over here working on this CV axle, trying to get it out of the differential.
The latest idea is to put some tension on it with a winch. It's original. Let her rip.
That thing doesn't want to give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yellow!
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Holy cow.
Well, that was a little unconventional, but it worked.
All right, well, we're finally underway. Got the CV axle fixed, got the rooftop tent put back on the 4Runner there. So back to the rocks we go. All right, so we're about to drop into Big Sluice. You can see this big drop off right down here in a huge valley. It's gonna take us down to Rubicon Springs. Last year, Big Sluice was extra bouldery compared to the year prior, so it'll be interesting to see how it's changed this year. Like I said earlier in the video, they just did a bunch of trail maintenance, so maybe they smoothed it out. We'll find out. This used to be where an obstacle called decision tree was, and there are 3 different ways you could take the tree that is now laying down with standing up, and there were just all kinds of different ways around it, and it was much more involved than this, which has just become a narrow spot on the trail. As you can see, decision tree isn't really much of anything anymore. I'm glad I came down this the first year that I did, when it was still the obstacle that it was. Now it's just a skinny spot on the trail. Not too bad. For more narrow vehicles like Griffin's 4Runner, driving through here, no big deal. Keep coming, you're fine. In its former state, this would have been one of the absolute most difficult spots for Griffin to get through. Yep, just straight through. All good. Coming around this tree was much more difficult even just last year. I'm not sure if they smoothed this out with the recent maintenance that they did, but this was another not extremely, but very difficult spot on the trail. More tire and more articulation. You can never have too much on the Rubicon.
You look good. Keep going. 3 wheels. Hope. Straighten it out. Straighten it out. Passenger. And pull, and you're good.
Now this is the rockiest section of Big Sluice, where the biggest boulders are, and Morgan was a real champion. He ran down the whole thing and recorded it all for me, so you could watch. Big Sluice is just a ton of fun. I can't wait to run the trail in the opposite direction. Going up would obviously be much more difficult. Right before Rubicon Springs, there's this tight squeeze. My wheels are set a little bit too wide. It just wanted to push me into the wall. If I had gone forward, I definitely would have lost my mirror. Fortunately, there's another way around, so that's the way I went.
Got more passengers. You're gonna have to back up.
More tires, always good.
Brake, but slowly.
Slowly.
Well, we made it to Rubicon Springs. It's beautiful as always here. The big sluice, they did not fill in those holes. Those boulders were big as always. Very impressive, a lot of fun. We're going to continue up Cadillac and wrap up this trip. I just love the river here at Rubicon Springs. It was so awesome last year. We camped right over here for a couple nights for Rubathon. Totally amazing. The water is definitely higher this time of year than it is in August. Holy cow. It's kind of cool though. So Big Sluice is a big rocky downhill. Cadillac Hill is a big rocky uphill. Of course that depends on which way you're traveling. But they're both big hills with big rocks. A lot of fun.
Yeah, good line. Passenger.
Climbing up Cadillac Hill. Check out the scenery, it's amazing. We are almost to the top of Cadillac Hill. Just a couple big things right here to get up that I already came up. Just got to get the 4Runner up.
Well, we thought we were home free. Jay decided to
that too.
pop his tire right before the end of the trail here. Good thing he's got a spare.
Where's the socket thing? You have the key in there.
Good as new.
All right, guys. Well, we made it back to the Tahoma side of the Rubicon Trail. We didn't do too bad. Just a broken CV axle and a tire and a couple miscellaneous little things. I think a fender liner. Nothing too bad. Anyways, the Rubicon is always fun because it's pretty much the best trail ever. It's beautiful. It's difficult. It's got a little bit of everything. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and make sure you subscribe so you can join me on my next adventure. And we'll see you next time.